This is something I created called the Quadrant of Potential. What you'll see here is the blue section says not good at and not interested. When you do what you're not good at and you're not interested in, it feels pointless and it can lead to depression. When you do what you're not good at and you're not interested in, it can lead to depression, it can lead to anxiety, it can lead to all of those negative emotions. Now look at the yellow section of the quadrant. Not good at but interested. There's a lot of stuff in the world that we're not good at, but we're interested in. For me, social media used to be one of those things. I was interested in social media, but I wasn't good at it. But that's something where you see potential and you feel excitement. When you're trying to learn something that you're not good at, but you're interested in, you feel a buzz. It's exciting. Look at the gray section of the quadrant. The gray section of the quadrant is good at, but don't love. That's what most of us end up doing for work. We do something that we're good at, but we don't really love it. It doesn't fulfill us. And that ends up being a profession, but it stresses us out. And finally, in the orange quadrant, you have good at and love. That's where you find passion, and that's where you experience fulfillment. What I'd love for you to do is today, tomorrow, sit down with your partner, your friend, and actually reflect on 2 to 3 things in each section of that quadrant. Do you know what you're good at and love? Do more of that. Do you know what that you're not good at but interested in? Do more of that. Spend your life in the orange and yellow side of the quadrant, and you will never, ever have to experience that pressure, that stress, anxiety in the negative sense. You'll still experience stress and pressure. I experience stress and pressure, but it's good. It motivates me, inspires me, not bringing me down. Let's move away from spending time in the good at and don't loved and not good and not interested. And if you feel that sense and it's strong for you, water that, grow that, nurture it. Don't tell it to be quiet. Don't push it aside. Don't ignore it, because one day you'll ignore it so much that it won't be there anymore. It will get so quiet. Don't let that happen. All right? Don't let that happen. And finally, your passion becomes a purpose when you use it in the service of others. When you identify what you're good at, what you love, your wiring, your qualities, your values, your skills, your abilities, and you use that to make a difference in the life of other people, that's when you're going to feel most fulfilled. Fulfillment is not just about doing good. It's about becoming better and then doing good with what you have. People often ask me about my meditation routine or my morning routine. I meditate for 2 hours a day. I have done for the last 13 years. And one of my favorite meditation practices that I do, which is the smallest and shortest part of my meditation, is that I refine my intention. What I mean by that is every day I write down thoughts in my mind that are either weeds or seeds. Seeds are ones that I want to grow. Seeds are things that I want to plant because they're full of love, compassion, empathy, kindness. And the weeds are greed, negativity, manipulation, power, control. So every day I'm literally gardening my heart by pulling out every weed and plucking out every weed that I no longer want to plant in my house. Because guess what? Weeds end up looking like seeds. Often in our life, the weeds and the seeds look exactly the same when they start growing. And that's one of the biggest challenges. We're wired for generosity, but we're educated for greed. And we're so deeply wired for generosity, but everything's trying to pull us away from that. We've been told 2 lies in our life. The first lie is, you're nothing. You're not worth anything. You haven't got anything. That's the first lie. The second lie we've all been told is you can be anything. It's a lie. It's not true. The way we're wired defines what we can do with that wiring. And therefore the truth is, you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are.
Yeah, I believe that the answers come from within and we're not asking the right questions. I feel we're always looking for the right answers, not the right questions. And the biggest companies that we respect today, the biggest organizations, all came from trying to answer a question. It all came from trying to solve a problem or a question that we were able to identify. So my work comes from a very simple study that I read that said the most successful people in the world choose education over entertainment. And the most unsuccessful people in the world choose entertainment over education with their spare time. So my mission has been, how do we spread wisdom at the pace people want entertainment? And to me, entertainment allows you to populate the thought with your own brain. Like when you watch a character or a superhero, you can watch it from your own lens. The movie may have morals, it may have values, it may be talking about good and evil, but the movie's not deciding for you. The movie allows you a space to create and imagine and grow. So for me, that's what I want my content to do, is give people a space to populate themselves, see themselves in the characters that I'm presenting, see their own situation, and be able to come to their own conclusions.
There's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says that detachment doesn't mean that you own nothing. Detachment means that nothing owns you. And to me, that's that balance. That's that balance. It's that, you know that, like if you're going over the millions and billions, but then that starts owning you. We've seen that destroy people. You've seen that destruct people.
So it's like the dominant energy.
Exactly.
But how do you think, because it's easy to fool yourself and be like, no, I'm not dominated by money, but like, was there a litmus test? Is there a test you had in the back of your mind that you could know that you are truly detached?
Well, I think there's, we have both. Like one of my favorite quotes, which kind of complicates the whole situation, is from Charles Cooley, where he said that, today I'm not what I think I am, I'm not what you think I am what I think you think I am.
Right.
And we're lost in that perception of ourselves. So if all my billionaire mates are telling me, no man, you're all right. Like you've got money, you're good, but you've got to have that reflection. But that's not going to come if you're just surrounded in that echo chamber. And you talk about this loads, having mentors. My thing is that when I come up with an idea, I want to know what the Dalai Lama thinks as much as what the Mark Zuckerberg thinks. Because for me, that polarity is what allows me to not get lost in the echo chamber.
The beautiful things I learned was that serving other people was without a doubt the most meaningful experience of humanity. And there's this great study by Michael Norton from the Cambridge University where he talks about how money can buy happiness if you spend it on other people. And he's done this incredible study in all regions all across the world where he talks about how actually if people are given $5, $20, or even $100, when you spend it on yourself, your happiness doesn't go up or doesn't go down. But when you spend it on other people, your happiness has the opportunity to grow by at least 10 to 20%. So fulfillment grows when we use our money, time, energy in the service of others. And when I was working at internships, I felt like I was serving myself. And I wasn't getting an opportunity to impact someone else's life. We've all been in that, and I'm sure you have, been in that position where you've just made a difference in a young person's life, where you've made a difference in someone who doesn't have much, and you see the joy on their face. And that's what I was getting to experience as a monk on a daily basis.
Mindset 2 is a bit more about how much we have to unlearn about ourselves. How many of you have ever been told by your boss that you're too slow? How many of you have ever been told, don't look at that. How many of you have been ever told by your boss that you're too bossy? And you're thinking, yeah, right, How many of you have been ever told that you annoy other people when you work really fast and diligently? Yeah, everyone's heard these things. This is your opportunity to unlearn what you've been told about yourself. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to answer 2 questions based on a reflection of your own self, not how you are at work, not how people perceive you, not how people think about you, but how you think about yourself. I'm going to ask you to push to go to that level. There's a great philosopher called Cooley in the 1800s. He said that today, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. Let that blow your mind for a moment. I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. We're lost in a perception of ourselves. So our image of ourselves is made up mostly by what people think of us. If people think you're outgoing, you're more outgoing. If people think that you're someone who likes to be the front of the party, you behave that. We interact, we almost act as method actors, creating an image in society. So what I'd love for you to do is I'd like you to choose whether you believe you're more outgoing as a person or more reserved And I'd like you to choose for yourself. If you're outgoing, I want you to head to this side of the room. And if you're reserved, I want you to head to this side of the room. You can choose now, and you can't be in the middle, I'll tell you why. One of the greatest challenges that organizations have faced over time is that people have started being engaged in the wrong places. We've had to learn skills, portray ourselves, present ourselves in job interviews, say that we're good at things even when we might not be very good at them, because we believe that that's what's required. But actually what the most powerful organizations today have found, that actually when people unlearn those and go back to their root environment where they thrive, then they're able to have a huge impact. There's a great conversation between Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. And Steve Wozniak looks at Steve Jobs and he said, you know what, you're not a coder, you're not an artist, you're not an engineer, you know, you're not a technology guy, what do you even do? And Steve Jobs, in his usual Steve Jobs way, says, musicians play their instruments, I play the orchestra. And I love that line because it so much sums up a deep understanding of where you thrive. And this is the challenge that organizations have, needing to unlearn what we've made our people think they are, but allowing them to go back to their source of inspiration.